What's going on, guys? My name is Monster, and welcome to the team draft recap for the commissioner of the NCL, Ladner Lanturn. Um, I am joined by Jed in this video. What's up, man?
How you doing? Yeah, it's good to be here to go over Ian's draft and I don't know, see if we need to talk some snack or if we can actually compliment it a bit.
Yeah, so Ian didn't want to do his own draft video for obvious reasons. It would make it seem like he's biased. So, yeah. So to get right into it, Ian's first overall pick, I believe Ian was 8th pick or ninth pick. I think it was ninth pick overall in the draft.
Ninth or 10th, somewhere near the end there.
Yeah, he originally was placed third, and he traded away his spot in favor of a lower pick because he didn't know what he wanted first round, and he wanted to see what fell to him, which makes a lot of sense for sure.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, you were quite happy with your back wheel there.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, to get right into his first pick, a pick that I was actually kind of surprised went as long as it did, round one. Ian picked up Mew. What do you think about Mew?
It's like definitely a very solid pick. Like the versatility that it provides for a team is like incredible, and like being just base 100 across the and having like every TM move, so many move tutor moves and stuff like that. Like it's just a really great pick to start off a team with. And as you said, yeah, I'm pretty surprised that it went this late, but I mean there are a lot of threats in. So once again, like while I'm surprised it didn't go, I'm not surprised it didn't go as well. So definitely a good pickup and can lead to a wide variety of different team building options.
Yeah, for sure. So for Mew, you don't prep for Mew. Generally, what you do is you take coverage for Mew and you pray that it is enough to beat Mew because you never know what set it's going to bring. It can be a bulky defog variant with recovery and stuff like that, or it can be offensive setup sweeper. It's a definitely a very, very versatile mon. Arguably one of the most versatile in draft league format, and definitely is very good. Worthy to note is that Munium Z is 1,000,000% banned. That Z move is broken. So yeah, so it's just normal Mew, but it can use any Z move outside of Z Parting Shot and Z Memento. So yeah.
A Z Memento and Z Parting Shot banned.
Yes, that's what I meant, right? That's what I said. It can use any Z move except for Z Parting Shot and Z Memento.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. But yeah, as I have said before, like when it comes to you in the prep, you prep for something. You prep something that can two-shot it at its most defensive, and then hope that you have whatever you need to deal with it if it comes something different, which is quite likely. But like, if you don't prep for that defensive Mew will just sit there and not die. And
Yeah.
like, it's not something that you want. So you have to prep for it and then hope that whatever prep you've done can also handle whatever Mew set decides to come.
For sure. Defensive Mew is definitely always a scary threat. So yeah, going into round two, Ian picks up Sylveon. Sylveon is a tier 2 fairy, arguably the best tier 2 fairy. Sylveon is extremely bulky with that base 95 HP and base 130 SPDEF. It's an extremely good wish passer as well, so Ian's already got some really solid recovery on his Mon so far. And even though it's not listed on the PowerPoint here, its main ability is Pixelate, which boosts or it turns normal moves into fairy moves and then boosts the power even more. So yeah, definitely a very, very solid Mon for sure. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's quite a contrast to his first pick, whereas Mew is like extremely versatile, has many different options. Sylveon does not. Like it can do other things, but um, it's best at just wishing and healing up, like stuff like that. Like it does hit pretty hard with its pixelate hyper voice and stuff like that, but um, you mainly bring this thing so that you can tank some hits and pass some wishes. It's a very good cleric, a very solid cleric, and like I think it's a good pickup to go with that Mew as well. So yeah, definitely a good first two picks, in my opinion.
I would definitely agree. There are definitely a lot of directions that Ian's team can go from here, and I'm interested to see where he takes it. So yeah, going into round three now. Um, Coming back to him, he picks up Alolan Ninetales, so another fairy here. Um, so obviously picking up another fairy, he's accumulating a bit of a steel weakness, and at the moment he does not have a steel switch in. But so what Alolan Ninetales is obviously very good at is setting the hail, and it while it sets the hail, it can also set Aurora Veil. So now that he's drafted Alolan Ninetales, you can kind of see the direction that he's taking his team in. Um, because Mew is a setup sweeper, and getting Mew behind Aurora Veil to set up sweep is very good, like extremely good. And don't doubt Alolan Ninetales' offensive prowess either. Speaking of which, why don't you tell me a little bit about Alolan Ninetales' offensive pressure?
Yes, as a few people might know, I do love some, and it has been one of my best offensive mons, or I wouldn't even just say offensive, but just like most useful mons that I've had on teams when I've had it. Um, just like while it is really good at setting the Aurora Veil, it has other options that it can do. Like it's fast enough that like it can be an offensive threat. It gets nasty plots, so it can set up that way. Like it can use the Aurora Veil itself as well. It's a great Scarfer. It's great specs. Like just in blizzards in the hail, like it can't miss, and it can do a ton of damage. Um, so I do think this is definitely a good grab, and like so far it looks like he's got versatility, then like something that does one thing really well. It's known for that one thing, and then Alolan Ninetales I feel a very versatile pick. So an interesting pattern that is following here.
Yeah, for sure. I do think Alolan Ninetales is most known for setting Aurora Veil, but it can definitely do a lot of. It can definitely do like various other things too. So definitely a good pick for sure. So then coming back to him from the wheel in round four, he decided to pick up Melodic. Um, Now, Melodic is very similar to Sylveon in a way that you can bring fully physically defensive Melodic and still be able to tank especially defensive hits, or especially offensive hits, I mean. It's an extremely solid water type, one of the best bulky waters in the format. Obviously, getting that ability in Marvel Scale with a Flame Orb set, boosting its defense even more. And it also has a pretty interesting ability in competitive that actually synergizes with Aurora Veil. Tell me about it, dude.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, Melodic is a pretty good pickup here as well. Like as you said, it helps with that steel weakness that is picked up with the two fairies and like the fairy ice of the Alolan Ninetales and the Sylveon. Um, so it's good in that aspect for his team for sure. But also with that competitive, as you were talking about, like the Aurora Veil can be removed with defog, right? Um, but with competitive, this Melodic will be able to get special attack boosts when that happens. So it's just another way of like trying to keep your Aurora Veil up for longer, like to deter your opponent from clicking that default too easily. And just like Melodic is once again in that pattern of like something that is known for doing one thing really well, and alternating with the versatility of his other picks. Ian's, like, I mean, not to say that things like Sylveon and Melodic don't have those neat techs that like Ian is definitely known for bringing. Like he's definitely got some neat things that he can do with these mons, but they're like 100% known for doing like one thing really, really well, and that's the reason I feel like that he picked them up in this team.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. And another thing to note is that 3 out of the 4 mons he has get recovery. Mew gets soft boiled and roost, Sylveon gets wish, and Melodic gets recover. So he has a lot of longevity on this team so far, and it is looking very threatening.
Oh yeah, and that longevity is only going to be helped by the Aurora as well. Like all of these mons that he has can be really defensive, and then the Aurora Veil is just going to double that. So it's looking pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So coming into round 5 here. Also, round 4 was also the round where every bulky water was going, or like every water type was going, which was super weird. But so coming into round 5 here, Ian picked up kommo-o. So again, as I said before, you kind of see the direction that he wants to go with this team. This is his 3rd setup sweeper after Mew and Alolan Ninetales. Just a really, really solid mon. It got Dragon Dance in Gen 7 along with Close Combat, 2 things that it definitely needed. And it has 3 amazing abilities in Bulletproof, Soundproof, and Overcoat. Bulletproof making him immune to his ×4 effective Moonblast. Soundproof making him immune to ×4 effective Pixelate Hyper Voices. And Overcoat making it to where he is not affected by powder moves such as Spore. It's just a really great overall mon, and I think with Aurora Veil, it's really going to shine on this team. What do you think?
Yeah, Ian's obviously taken some inspiration from AA. Hopefully for him, he'll be able to better work. Because I have both the Alola Ninetales and the kommo-o on that team as well, and it's a really good combination. Like kommo-o has got quite a decent amount of normal bulk, and so the only thing that's really it has to worry about is like a fairy move from something hitting that 4 times weakness that it has. But with Aurora Veil, like not even that is going to take this out, and it helps that its 4 times weakness cannot be put on a hidden power either, because no hidden power fairy, it's not possible to have. So it definitely helps kommo-o out a lot and allows it to set up really easily that way, like with the Dragon Dance or the Autotomize. It's just got kommo-o's got a lot of options. Obviously, it can't use the clanging scales Z move, clanging Gomorrah's Soul Blaze or whatever it is. I can't remember.
I think you actually nailed that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
But yeah, it can't use that because that's obviously a new boost. So those are banned. But it still has a lot of options, and like having very similar attacking and special attacking stats, it you never know what side it's going to be attacking on, and so it can be very hard to deal with in that aspect.
Definitely, for sure. I personally use Specs kommo-o on the UU ladder, and it catches so many people off guard. It's actually super funny to watch. And Ian is definitely going to be the type of battler to catch people off guard with it, for sure.
And once again, it's hitting that pattern of versatility and then just something that does something really well.
For sure, for sure. So coming back to him from the wheel in round 6, Ian picked up rotom-heat. So At this point, he has one defensive check to steel types, that being Melodic, and kommo-o can offensively check steel types, but I feel like his main offensive check to steel types is going to be the rotom-heat here. Obviously, getting overheat, which is base 130. A base 130 fire move, which is really, really good. It's also a really nice Fire Z user because of the fact that overheats base 130 base power. Um, Definitely really solid, and it gives him a nice volt turn, or not volt, or volt switch user that I think he needed for sure. What do you think about Rotom Heat on this team?
Yeah, it definitely pairs really nicely with the team that he has at the moment. And I do believe that it is a 4 times steel resistance as well. So while it is really good offensively against it, it can switch in and take a steel hit if needed to, which I think is really important for this team that he has. Also, yeah, as you said, it has that the volt switch, which pairs really well with it's good to have that momentum paired up with like the baton pass from the Sylveon and stuff like that. So definitely a good pickup, and it's his only. Well, actually, this and Mew have the defog. They're both fairly solid defoggers. So having defog, another solid defogger to pick from, is definitely a good option.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Definitely think that Rotom Heat is a good pick on this team. Um, so coming into round 7, Ian decided that he wanted to pick up the Alolan Sandslash. So kind of an obvious pick because he did get the Alolan Ninetales. This gives him another times 4 weakness to not to steel, but he gives him another times 4 weakness just in general. I think he currently has 3 right now, one being steel, one being fairy, and then this one being fighting and fire. So that's something to note, that he's picked up a lot of times 4 weaknesses. But this is yet another setup sweeper that he can put behind Aurora Veil, and obviously it gets Slush Rush, which doubles the speed in Hail. So definitely very, very solid. Really good Z user as well. Getting using Z Earthquake is definitely something that it does a lot. And yeah, I think Alolan Sandslash is definitely going to be pretty good on this team. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's definitely a good addition. Like once again, he's picked up something from my own AA. And even if you forget to put Slush Rush on, you can still have Snowcloak and dodge a Thunder Wave in the hail and get a kill back from that. So even a misgen can help you out.
Yeah, I wonder where that
just
happened.
What happened in my last game? Yeah, right. It's got solid defense as well as a decent attacking stat, and then it's got Icicle Crash. Obviously, like it's hardest hitting stab move. It gets knockoff. It's got Rock Slide, Stone Edge, I believe, Iron Head. It's got like decent coverage moves that it needs to hit a lot of things, and it's good that it's got the Earthquake to hit its biggest weakness as well. And like Ian does already have things on his team to cover the fire weakness. And then he does have things to cover that fighting weakness. So picking this up is definitely more. It definitely has more potential than it does have detriments. So it's definitely a good pickup.
Oh, I 100% agree. Alolan Sandslash in the Hail is always pretty good. So yeah, coming back to him after you picked your wheel pick and it went back up to him. In round 8, Ian picked up Serperior. So this is yet another setup sweeper and behind Aurora Veil. Obviously, Serperior gets Contrary, so it can use a Leaf Storm and gets +2 special attack instead of -2, which is extremely good. This also has a really nice speed at 113. Definitely a very scary pick with the Aurora Veil on this team. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, definitely. Like that speed just gives it so much versatility in and of itself. It is like excellent. Until you miss a Leaf Storm on an Araquanid that would have sealed you the game. But
Again, where did this
I
stuff
mean,
happen?
I don't know. It's almost like things happen in my games sometimes. And the fact that like it's decently bulky as well, with 75 HP defenses, so like you can run, and then it's got like special attack and attack of both even. So like you don't even have to run this specially offensive if you don't want to. You can oil with a bit of bulk rather than being speedy, specially offensive with the Contrary Leaf Storm. So it definitely has options. You can run Glare on it to get some paralysis off, which is definitely a tactic that Ian likes, paralyzing things. But yeah, it's a very versatile mon, so it's definitely a great pickup.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that Serperior in a Veil team is very scary. Um, so the snake goes all the way back up to the top and then all the way back down to Ian here in round 9, and he decided that he wanted to pick up Alolan Eradicate. Now, this is a pick that I personally do not understand because I don't know anything about Alolan Eradicate. All I know is that it's bad and that it's a normal dark type, so it's times 4 weak to fighting. It looks like it's got some decent abilities, I guess, with Gluttony, Hustle, and Thick Fat. But for the most part, I feel fairly confident that Alolan Eradicate is kind of bad. Maybe maybe you understand this pick a little bit more. What do you think about it?
I mean, for picking up there's not many options. I was actually looking to pick this thing up myself over Mariana. I think looking at the stats now, I might have got a pretty decent deal out of it, just because Mariana. But and it doesn't have that 4 times weakness to fighting that Eradicate does here. But like looking at Eradicate's stats, like obviously you're not going to use it as a special attack, but its HP is not bad. Its defense and special defense aren't bad, and then chucking a Thick Fat on there, it could work out. I don't know what setup moves it has, but having the Gluttony there could help it be able to get a setup move off, which could be interesting, especially behind the Aurora Veil. And then Hustle is interesting. I know the detriments of running Hustle on a mon for sure. Missing a Choice Banded Hustle Drain Punch from my Togekiss in a recent match.
It is crazy that you have so many experiences with all these mons.
Yeah, it is interesting actually, but I don't know. I don't really know a lot. It gets like Sucker Punch and stuff like that. I'll look that up just so I'm not talking out of my butt.
I hope it gets Sucker Punch. I feel like that would be one of its main.
Yeah, it definitely gets Sucker Punch. So
Okay.
that's good. And it does get like Pursuit as well, Knockoff. So it's got some nice dark stab moves there. So definitely like a good budget dark type, I think. Like it's definitely not the worst pick you could be getting from tier 5. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Okay. I see where you're coming from. All right. So in round 10, we're getting into the more, or what's supposed to be more niche mons, and he decided that he wanted to pick up Mega Pincer, which is definitely not a niche mon. So he somehow managed to let this go all the way until round 10, which is crazy. But yeah, so he picks up Mega Pincer because it is an extremely good setup sweeper. And putting a Mega Pincer behind Aurora Veil just sounds incredibly scary. Definitely not something that I personally want to face. So this is yet another times 4 weakness. This one to Rock. Definitely a lot of times 4 weaknesses on the team right now. But I feel like Mega Pincer's offensive prowess with Aerial 8 just make that totally obsolete. It's a crazy good mon. So what do you think about Mega Pincer on an Aurora Veil team?
It's definitely going to be able to put in work for sure. Like as you said, it's got that rock, but like Ian doesn't really have the like most rock weak team. So like he's got the Heatran, the rotom-heat, which is weak to rock, but that's pretty much it for his rock weaknesses. So like I don't think that having this 4 times rock weakness is a big deal. Especially with the Aurora Veil up, this thing is going to be able to get a Swords Dance, just Aerial 8, quick attack, everything, and it's just going to demolish. Yeah, like Mega Pincer, while it's not as fast as the Mega Beedrill, it is still just as threatening. And it's got a decent defense stat on top of that as well. So, like, it can definitely take a hit, and then being like 4 times resisting to like fighting moves will let it switch in on things like the like that would want to be hitting the Eradicate or the Alolan Sandslash.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
it's definitely a good. I think it fits really well, the Aurora Veil team that he's building here.
Yeah, for sure. This team definitely heavily revolves around Aurora Veil, and it is looking incredibly threatening. So round 11, Ian picks up B Barrel. Now this is a Flames pick, and it actually synergizes really well with Aurora Veil because B Barrel gets Simple, which I believe just boosts the boost you get from using a setup move. It's like if you use Swords Dance, instead of getting to +2, you get to +3, right?
It could
Or
be
+4?
double. It could
+4?
be +4.
Okay, but
It could be. I think it might be double.
okay, but so yeah, so just yet another setup sweeper that Ian can use on his Aurora Veil team here. Definitely extremely scary. B-Barrel is a normal water type as well. It's got a respectable attack stat at 85. Definitely can be a threat if used correctly. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a meme pick, but like, it's definitely still a scary meme pick along the lines like a Zangoose or like even a Lanoon. Like Lanoon's a bit of a meme pick, but like while Lanoon has a bit more viability than the barrel does, the Aurora Veil is going to make the barrel's life much easier to set up with. So, like, and also the barrel is not going to get to +6 one at once, but it's also not going to have to half its health to be able to do that, which is really good as well. So it's definitely going to have potential on this team. The Aurora Veil is definitely just enabling a lot of things on Ian's team to show to show its strengths, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I've ever seen so many setup sweepers on a single team. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, to get into the next thing, so that's all of Ian's picks. That's his whole draft there. So now we're gonna get into the strengths and weaknesses of his team. So first off, he has 3 really big major resists. He has 5 grass resists, 5 bug resists, and 5 ice resists. all of which are pretty good. It seems like every team has a lot of grass resist, by the way. I think I have 5 grass resist. I think you have 5, and I think Dom has 5, or something like that. Like I don't know why, but for some reason every team just resists grass a lot.
There's a bunch of types that resist grass, so it's not surprising.
True. So yeah, he has 5 bug resist, which is definitely not bad at all. It helps his Mew out a lot there. And then he has 5 ice resists, which is definitely a premier offensive typing in Draft League format. And yeah, so but he also, with strengths come weaknesses. He has 4 fire weaknesses, one of which is a ×4 weakness from what I can remember. He has 3 fighting weaknesses, 2 of which are 4 times weaknesses, which is definitely an issue. And then he has 3 rock weaknesses, one of which is a ×4 weakness, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And then he's also got the ×4 weakness to Steel, the ×4 weakness to Fairy.
Yeah, definitely has a lot of ×4 weaknesses on this team.
But as I say, like having different 4 times weaknesses is not a bad thing. It just means that you can psych your opponent out on what HP, what hidden power they bring, and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about him having all those 4 weaknesses. And he's also got like resistances to cover those as well, so it's not as huge a deal. I think his team is relatively in that respect.
Yeah, I would agree. Faking people out on what hidden power they want to take also leads to a bunch of 50-50s, and if anybody's going to predict the 50-50 correctly, it's going to be Ian. So, so next up is his hazard control. And is it good? Is it bad? So he has 5 setters, apparently. Mew can set Stealth Rocks. Kommo-o can set Stealth Rocks. Alolan Sandslash can set Stealth Rocks, I think. Mega Pincer can set Stealth Rock. Are they all Stealth Rock?
Yeah, they can all set Stealth.
That's a lot of rocks.
Well, actually, I'm not sure about the barrel, but if the barrel can set Stealth Rocks, I didn't know that, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But so he has 5 rock setters and no other variety, from what I can tell.
Not that I know of off the top of my head, but I mean, knowing Ian, I wouldn't be surprised if there are some other hazards in there as well.
Probably. And then he has 4 removers. Mew with Defog. Rotom-heat with Defog, Alolan Sandslash with Rapid Spin, and Serperior with Defog. So definitely,
I'm surprised that Mega Pincer isn't on there. Like, I would have thought that could learn Defog, but I guess because it Mega Evolves out of Pincer, then it wouldn't really make too much sense. So,
yeah. I think his hazard control game is definitely good. Considering he has 5 setters and 4 movers, that's definitely really solid.
I think his hazard setting is good. He's got lots, and you're never really going to one he's going to bring it on. Though, I mean, I don't think Mega Pincer will take it a lot of the time, but you never know. I feel like his removal is not as good as his setting is. Like, Rotom-heat is still weak to the Stealth Rocks there, so bringing that into Defog is not always the best situation to be in. Serperior isn't really going to run Defog too often, though, like, it can be something that it can bring. Alolan Sandslash, while has that Rapid Spin, it's hard to get it off outside of Hail, and then when you inhale, you'd rather be getting the offensive moves off if you can. And then, like, it leaves him with Mew to be a defogger a lot of the time, and that does kill a lot of the adaptability that Mew can bring to a team.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. So Mew probably will be bringing Defog at like a defensive variant a lot of the time, just because it's probably going to be his main defogger and not a setup sweeper all the time, which is definitely something to note. So yeah, so our last slide here is just one final look at the overall picture of Ian's team, as my computer can't handle all these sprites on the screen at one time, so they're lagging a little bit. Um, Sorry about that. But yeah, so again, we've touched on the fact that his hazard control is, or his setting is good, but his removal has the potential to be not amazing. But all in all, I think this is a very, very scary Aurora Veil team that is going to be very hard to prep for. And basically just going to have to bring taunt on a lot of stuff in order to try and prevent him from setting up.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Just looking at this overall picture, like he doesn't have a poison type. He's definitely like got some toxic spike weakness there, but unlike your team, his only removal option that is immune to it is the
Alolan
um,
Sandslash.
Alolan Sandslash and the Rotom-heat, but
Oh yeah, true.
like if Stealth Rocks are up as well, then it's still going to be hard for Rotom-heat to come in and get rid of them. So not having that grounded poison, I think, can be a bit of a detriment to this team, because like the Aurora Veil doesn't stop that. It doesn't stop the damage from toxic spikes.
Right.
And that's going to limit how well his team can set up as well. But like, I feel like he still has options that he can deal with that. Like he's got the Sylveon, which can use the Hill Bell and stuff like that. So I feel like Ian's probably going to be able to cover those holes in his team pretty well. He's the kind of player that will think about stuff like that.
Definitely, without a doubt. So yeah, that's the draft recap for the Ladner Lanturn, and Coach Ian, the commissioner of the Nimbasa City League. That's going to be it for us, guys. Be sure to check out Ian's channel in the description below, as well as my channel and Judge's channel. And be sure to stick around for more content that's going to be around on the NCL channel. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and have a good day.
Yeah, thank you guys, and peace.